Hey guys, hope you're doing well. I'm your host, Tyranno Senpai, and welcome to another Camp Cretaceous video. Now, for the longest while, I've wanted to do a review on this series, and after seeing Camp Cretaceous a few times, and with Season 2 due to come out on January 22nd, there's no better time than now. Just a heads up for everyone watching this, there will be a spoiler review, but right now, I'll give my non-spoiler review. So if you haven't seen Season 1 yet, you can know what to expect without me giving away anything. So, before we begin though, I'd like to say that if you can't probably tell, I got myself a new headset from Nebwo, which I've actually tested out a little bit earlier today, and it looks really well. It comes with an M3.5 millimeter plug, and it has volume control plus mute, so you can hear me sometimes, other times you can't. And they are also very comfortable, if I must say. These work out really well, and I'm definitely looking forward to using these in my future videos and all that. But for now, let's begin the review. First, I like to say that the animation looks absolutely breathtaking. We all saw the teaser with a velociraptor in the jungle calling out and pouncing on the camera, and when it did, it totally blew my mind. True, the model wasn't as detailed as the ones we see in the live-action movies, but for an animated teaser, it looked phenomenal. That was a couple years back, and sure enough, we finally got a glimpse of the teaser trailer for Season 1. From what I heard, there were a lot of mixed emotions about this trailer. Some, like yours truly, were very much hyped to see this, while others weren't so thrilled. Some thought that the characters, which were designed in a way similar to DreamWorks' Dragons, next to the realistic dinosaurs, whose models were taken from ILM and modified to fit in an animated universe, looked bad. There was also the fact that the main characters, being kids, had plot armor, meaning none of them would die because every single child that has ever been in the Jurassic movies has never been killed off, no matter how close to being eaten they were. And I think it was the same way with everyone when the actual trailer itself was released just a month before Season 1's official release. I was even surprised to see that some of my favorite YouTubers weren't quite attached to how Camp Cretaceous looked. It was when it was finally dropped on Netflix that people realized just how awesome it really was. It's like, wake up people, this is awesome! Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous quickly rose to be among the most viewed series on Netflix. A great deal of people who originally weren't open-minded about Camp Cretaceous came round and thoroughly enjoyed what they had seen. The animation looked great, even if the humans weren't as heavily detailed as the dinosaurs themselves. The music is very reminiscent to what we've come to hear in previous Jurassic films, and it's a perfect way to tie into the Jurassic World trilogy in a way that's canon with the Jurassic movie universe. And yes, there are human deaths in Camp Cretaceous. True, you don't see the actual kill being done, but you can definitely hear it 100%. However, for me anyway, there are some things that were not to my liking. Like the head design of Blue being the wrong shape, and the stereotypical personalities of the kids in the beginning of the series. But I gotta tell you, this first season was definitely worth the wait. So if you haven't watched Camp Cretaceous Season 1 yet, I highly recommend you do so. It's great fun, and I think you guys will personally enjoy it. Now, we reach the dreaded spoiler territory. This is where you want to stop before I give anything away. So if you enjoyed my review, leave a like, consider subscribing to the channel, and I hope you'll enjoy Camp Cretaceous. For those of you still watching, whether you've seen Season 1 yet or not, let's begin the spoiler review. But remember, there are spoilers ahead. You've been warned. One thing that Camp Cretaceous did right was when they showed Isla Sorna in the very first episode of the series, which I gotta be honest, if people didn't think that The Lost World or JP3 was canon to Jurassic World, even after it got name dropped in Fallen Kingdom, they do now. I mean, it's true, it was a map in a virtual reality game, but it's still too much of a coincidence. Not only that, but the game even had the raptor resonating chamber from Jurassic Park 3, which is used to call the raptors to fight off the T-Rex. This just shows that Isla Sorna did in fact exist in the Jurassic World universe, and the Lost World and JP3 really did happen in that timeline. Kudos for that little Easter egg. As the first person to ever win the game, Darius won not only a trip to Jurassic World, but also the opportunity to be one of the first campers to be in the upcoming attraction Camp Cretaceous, which would have a total of 500 campers and 150 staff when it finally opened to the public. Now, the characters in the first moments of Camp Cretaceous were kind of cringy, as they all kind of had their own stereotype. Darius is the dino nerd, Brooklyn as the famous vlogger, Yasmina the introverted athlete, Sammy the extroverted country girl, Ben the wimp, and Kenji the rich and big-headed boy. But as the series progressed and as the kids opened up more, they became more tolerable. Out of the bunch, I have to say that my favorite character has to be Darius by a landslide. And it's not just because he's as much of a dino nut as I am, let's be honest. But we see more of his background more than anyone else. We see that his dream was to go to Jurassic World with his father, who is fighting a losing battle with what I assume is cancer. We see just how much emotion he has when he sees his dad in the hospital bed, trying to keep the dream alive even when he knows it's for naught. And it's even sadder when we learn that Darius' father eventually passed away before they could see Jurassic World together. This is definitely a one-up from the subplot of Zach and Gray's parents getting a divorce that contributed nothing to the story of Jurassic World back in 2015. It was only there just to be there, I guess, which just made it a waste of space in my personal opinion. But the whole story regarding Darius and his father pretty much makes Darius as solid as a character can be. Other than Darius, we don't know much about the backstory of the characters except the things that are clearly obvious. Yaz, Kenji, and Ben are on the trip simply because their families are affiliated with Jurassic World or the Marzrani Corporation, and Sammy was sent to Isla Nublar as a corporate spy for Manticore. More on that later. The only character I think I don't know much about background-wise is Brooklyn. I can't seem to think of why she was in Camp Cretaceous other than to just get views and likes from her fan base. This is something I hope this series will get into in the later seasons. And of course, we have the camp counselors, Dave and Roxy. The two of them are pretty much the yin and yang of the series. Dave is the enthusiastic type of guy who thinks he's persuasive and has enough influence to be a leader, whereas Roxy is the realistically speaking and stick to the rulebook kind of person. But they do generally care about the safety and well-being of their campers, even going as far as threatening security of all people to turn the ship around and go back for the children. As far as dinosaurs go, Camp Cretaceous has quite a few to mention: Compsognathus, Brachiosaurus, Stegosaurus, Ankylosaurus, Sinoceratops, Parasaurolophus, Bioluminescent Parasaurolophus, and if I might add, Pteranodon, Velociraptor, and the Mosasaurus, just to name a bunch. This series brings these dinosaurs in a way that makes the story move along and even explains some of their origins, the Sinoceratops being one of the dinosaurs that were newly cloned on Isla Nublar, for example. This series also gives us a look at the main antagonist of Season 1, Toro the Carnotaurus. According to Kenji, the Carnotaurus was a dinosaur that proved to be too aggressive to be put on park display, which could also explain the origins of the Allosaurus in Fallen Kingdom. I gotta say, Toro as a character is pretty cool, and even as a villain, I actually have a touch of sympathy for him because of how he got his scar. Yeah, that looked like it hurt. Try getting a modeling career after getting that mark on your nose. And it gets even worse for the poor bugger after the kids went and burned him like the shark in the second Jaws movie. For a kid's show, this scene is brutal. Toro was all burned up and bloody and flesh exposed. But even so, it was totally badass, yet also kinda sad. That scene may have been triumphant for the kids, but it was really bad for Toro himself. I mean, come on! He just got blown the fuck up. Some people have even speculated that Toro might actually be the demon Carnotaurus we saw in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, but I still think it's too early to jump to that conclusion, especially since Toro isn't even seen or even mentioned in the trailer for Season 2, meaning he's either nursing his wounds or even dead. So as of now anyway, the whereabouts of Toro are unknown, and therefore it cannot be confirmed on whether or not the demon Carno from Fallen Kingdom is in fact Toro. And how can we forget about the baby Yoda of this franchise, Bumpy the Baby Ankylosaurus. I think I can speak for the whole Jurassic fandom when I say everyone has fallen in love with Bumpy. At first, I was a bit concerned that as the mascot of the series, it would behave in a way that wouldn't have been proper for an ankylosaurus, acting similar to a dog, or have an unreasonable amount of intelligence. But Camp Cretaceous eased my concerns and treated Bumpy as if she was an actual baby ankylosaurus. I was even surprised that Bumpy was actually going to be a baby Maiasaura originally. While it would have been a new dinosaur that did appear in the Michael Crichton novel, I don't think it would have worked as well as what we got in the final product. Also, the way the kids reunited with Bumpy ties in well with the scenes in Jurassic World where one of the adult ankylosaurs stops to fight the Indominus Rex to protect Bumpy. It's too much of a coincidence for the makers of this series to have Bumpy near the dead ankylosaurus. And that's just how great Camp Cretaceous is when it comes to tying into the already existing environment. But I digress. As we know, Bumpy, as well as the other dinosaurs on Isla Nublar, grow at an accelerated rate. When we first met her, she had just hatched from her egg. At that time, she was small enough to fit in Ben's hand. When we see her again, she grew at least 10 times her original size in just a matter of days. So it's very possible that Bumpy will be even bigger come season 2, if she makes an appearance, that is. But not to worry, I'm sure she'll still have her cuddle bumps. And then there's the Indominus Rex, making a smashing return to the franchise's everyone's favorite indomitable hybrid monster dinosaur. This gave us all a chance to see what kind of mayhem and carnage she caused while she wasn't on screen in Jurassic World back in 2015. She mostly served as a method to get the kids from one place to another, but in a way that's still thrilling and just as terrifying as her movie counterpart. But the way she first announced her presence didn't sit well with me. Why? Because she killed a Brachiosaurus. I mean, come on! That's the third time there's been a sauropod death scene in the Jurassic World universe. If this theme keeps happening, then no sauropod will be safe in Dominion once it's released in 2022. But still, the moments with the Indominus Rex are still pretty epic, especially the scene where she's hunting for the kids in the maze of trailers, which kind of gave me vibes from Jurassic Park, the game from Telltale, which wasn't even a good game to begin with. The last time we see her is when she's being chased by Madrani in a helicopter, but everyone who's watched the movie should know what happened to her after that. Our favorite Velociraptor has also made an appearance in Camp Cretaceous, but her role was so small and it didn't really contribute to much of the main story, so hopefully Blue will get more love in the future. And I've heard word of a Ceratosaurus and Velociraptor showdown in Camp Cretaceous, so maybe Blue might be seen again fairly shortly. Of course, there were still other dinosaurs that we know were on Isla Nublar during the events of 2015 and then in 2018, like Apatosaurus, Allosaurus, Dimorphodon, Stygimoloch, Pachycephalosaurus, Triceratops, Baryonyx, and T-Rex. And the one dinosaur everyone wants to see again, the Dilophosaurus, which has only been in one movie and a handful of cameos, yet has been toy in every movie. Like, ugh. Hopefully, we will see the Spitter reappear in a season of Camp Cretaceous or even in Dominion, but as a full-size adult, since the one we saw in Jurassic Park was a juvenile. And of course, we know that Baryonyx and the T-Rex will be appearing in Season 2, so no harm, no foul. Hopefully, as the series continues, we'll see more and more dinosaurs at Camp Cretaceous. There's even been talk about the return of the Momentosaurus and maybe even the Spinosaurus. So that might be something to look forward to as long as it's legit. And with the Ceratosaurus from JP3 making a return, there is a high possibility. Now, let's talk about human deaths in Camp Cretaceous. Yes, even though it's a show with children being the target audience, there is no shortage of death in the first season of Camp Cretaceous. True, you don't actually see the deaths take place or any blood, but you can definitely hear them 110%, man. All the kills so far were done by the Indominus Rex. The first two were park workers trying to flag down the teens in the observation tower. And I was genuinely surprised to hear actual bones crunching. That itself is extremely brutal. The third was just teased when Ben pointed out that not everyone escaped from the camp in time. And then there was Eddie, who died on his birthday that nobody freaking cared about because he wasn't important to anyone. In a similar situation as Gennaro in Jurassic Park, he abandoned the kids only to get eaten. Yeah, karma can be a bitch. What a bad day to have a birthday. Now let's return to the Manticore conversation. They are essentially the new big bag genetic company that wants to make their own dinosaurs. According to the story, Manticore were rivals with Masrani and attempted to clone their own dinosaurs before they were beaten to the punch. Samley's family came from a poor background and made dealings with people of the wrong sorts, even holding her family as hostages if she didn't go to Isa Nublar to collect DNA and samples from all the dinosaurs on the island. This definitely put a huge rift in the group as a whole, but it seems that there is some stability in the band of teenagers. Not much is known about Manticore for now, aside from that, but we might just expect to see them in Season 2. And that's pretty much all I can say about Season 1. Overall, it was what every Jurassic fan wanted. I myself wondered why we didn't get this sort of thing as a kid, but it honestly made my day. I gotta give this a 5 out of 5. It would be a total injustice to everyone if I gave it something lower. And with that, this is where I'll wrap up the video. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe today, hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything new. Link to our Discord in the description down below. And until next time, this is Tyranno Senpai signing off. Alrighty then. Take care now. Bye bye then.